Hello and welcome to another episode of Waterfront TV. I'm Caitlin Swan.
And I'm Brooklyn Curry. Thanks for joining us. We've all worked very hard to bring you today's show.
That's right, and today isn't just a regular WTV episode.
It certainly isn't. When you watch our show, you're watching a week's worth of effort from every single person on our team.
And that's a week of booking interviews, shooting, writing, editing, and not to mention building an entire show from scratch.
But today we thought we'd challenge ourselves. Instead of 1 week, we gave ourselves 1 day to get it all done.
We're starting today's show with Jack Morse at the news desk. Jack?
Thank you, Caitlin. This just in, we have a weapons complaint at Dartmouth High School. Police are on the scene and are asking people to stay away from the area. More details as they come in. In other news, people across Nova Scotia are coming together to support the Barho family after yesterday's devastating fire that claimed the lives of 7 children. WTV's Clara Nishida has been taking a look at the impact on the community. She joins us now. Clara?
Thanks, Jack. It seems like this fire has touched everyone I spoke to, and everyone is trying to help in some way. People are showing support to the family. Teddy bears and flowers left by the community sit by the front lawn of what remains of the 2-story home in Spryfield. The mother, Kauthar Barho, is in stable condition in the hospital. The father, Ibrahim, is fighting for his life. Mohammed Al-Masalma is from Syria and is a friend of Ibrahim Barho's.
He was really a nice guy. He seemed like a good family guy, a good father. He's a hard worker as well, yeah.
Al-Masalma says he's still in shock. Bruce Wallace is the executive director of the Spryfield Business Commission.
I think just, to find out what their needs are going to be. I mean, it's so devastating to lose 7 children all at one time. I mean, no one knows what their needs are going to be. And so I think from that perspective, we'll do whatever it takes to help them get through this awful tragedy.
Online, people have been offering condolences to the family and have been asking how they can help. District 11 Councillor Stephen Adams says he also wants to support the family.
I have children, and I can tell you when I got home last night, I hugged them both. I hugged my wife, I hugged my cats, and my dog too. It's a devastating tragedy, and one's going to take a long time to recover.
The community is planning a second vigil tonight at 7 p.m. to remember the children. Their funeral will be held at Yuma Mosque Friday as soon as the bodies are released. Mohammed Al-Masalma says this was a tragic loss for the Syrian community.
Honestly, I woke up yesterday to this horrible news. At the beginning, I received a message on like a Syrian WhatsApp group, and with Ibrahim's photo, and I was like, what is this about? So I started reading the message, and I couldn't believe my eyes while I was reading it.
The Heart Society has set up a GoFundMe page to help raise funds to support the family. And Jack, as of right now, they have raised $318,708, which is way more than what they were originally asking for. And now their goal is $1 million.
A public information meeting about an overnight emergency shelter in Dartmouth is taking place on Saturday. The Dartmouth Shelter Society wants community members to get a better understanding of what the shelter is trying to accomplish.
A clear community understanding of what it is we're trying to do. There are, and always has been, quite a few people involved in this, where I've kind of been the face and the voice of it for some time. That's kind of tired to me, and I really want to show the community that this is a group effort.
Weston says anyone from the community is welcome to attend at 2 p.m. at the Sun Life Community Church. Weston hopes the shelter will be open by the end of February. It will have about 15 beds. A petition to change the traffic law in the province is making the rounds in Halifax. The purpose of the petition is to ensure the safety of pedestrians and cyclists. Its main focus is on reducing the minimum speed limits to 30 or 40 kilometers per hour in residential areas.
The thrust of our petition is that we also need safer road conditions, so not just penalties for the people that hit pedestrians and cyclists. We need to make sure that the actual conditions that they're using are better, lower speed limits and better infrastructure.
The petition is also asking for changes in traffic lights and signage, like adding more advanced screens and allowing right turns on red on a case-by-case basis only. According to Halifax Regional Police, there were 20 pedestrian vehicle collisions in January. The petition has about 50 signatures so far. The MLA for Dartmouth North will be presenting them to the Nova Scotia House of Assembly at the end of the month. NSCC's Ivany campus is hosting a Skilled Futures in Technology event for grade 8 to 10 students from the HRM. Students have a chance to participate in workshops on technology to help them decide on a career path.
I think that it's a challenge to know what you want to do after high school, and it's really important that students have a chance to explore a wide variety of career paths, and so this gives them a chance to do that.
Workshops on electronics, oceans technology, and virtual reality were all on display. The National Skills Competition will be held in Halifax at the Exhibition Centre on May 28th and 29th. With Valentine's Day behind us, a Halifax group is holding a celebration to celebrate a different kind of love, self-love. The Youth Art Connection is holding the event featuring artists, musicians, and other local creators. It's a place where people can focus on themselves in a space for young artists in the city.
I think like a lot of people are really under a lot of pressure, money pressure, stress, social media, like all the different pressures of 2019, and you know, people need to take some time to care for themselves and care for each other.
Veltmeyer says he hopes the event will build support in Halifax's art scene. Hashtag self-love is this evening in Halifax. This year's Heritage Day celebrated beloved Nova Scotia folk artist Maud Lewis, but some people aren't quite done celebrating. A workshop at the Alderney Gate Library today teaches participants how to create art in Lewis's signature style, but also leaves room for personal.
I don't take them on a step-by-step process of do this, do that. I give them some instructions and then I set them free. And they're terrified at first.
Carter says participants go away knowing they can create art, and that's Lewis's legacy. Next year, Heritage Day will be in honor of the former Halifax community of Africville. That's it for the news. Back to you, Brooklyn and Caitlin.
Thank you, Jack.
We're going to take a quick break, but coming up next, and we'll show you a new exhibit at Alderney Landing that pairs art with science. Don't go anywhere.
My name's Edie and you're watching WTV.
Oh, so cute.
You know, Brooklyn, I'm pretty sure you looked like that little girl when you were a kid.
Honestly, minus the glasses, you're not wrong. I was adorable.
Well, there's been some change-ups in the student union over at Mount St. Vincent University.
That's right, and Dexter Yernabay joins us live to give us the details. What's been happening, Dexter?
Thanks, Caitlin and Brooklyn. The particular committee was established on February 1st at the start of African Heritage Month, so we went to campus to see what it means for black students.
Dorico Simons is the current Black Students Coordinator at Mount St. Vincent University. He says that there used to be an Afrocentric support group on campus, but it was phased out, and that worried black students.
Some students were kind of wondering, well, what's happening for us, and just asking questions, not seeing themselves represented and not seeing things happening for them.
It's because of that concern that the Mount decided to create the new Students of African Descent Advisory Committee. The committee looks to tackle anti-black racism on campus and support the work of the Black Student Support Coordinator.
Why not strike a committee that would be able to empower and engage students of African descent?
Keisha Wilmot is a Mount student mentor for incoming students. They say that the people chosen for the committee shows the university is taking it seriously.
I think one of the really important parts about having a president on the committee is that they're hearing directly from the people what needs to happen, because so often it's like you're meeting with someone else who then decides what they tell the higher-ups.
Interim Mount Student Union President Rex Carlton echoed support for the committee.
I feel as if this committee is very beneficial for not only me as a black student, for persons in the community as well.
The committee is also tasked with encouraging awareness and understanding of the distinct culture of students of African descent.
Since the committee is still in its early stages, no official meeting has happened as of yet. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Dexter.
So, Caitlin, have you ever been to the art gallery over at Alderney Landing?
Yeah, well, I live in Dartmouth, so yes, I have. Have you?
No, I actually was hoping you would say no, so we would have something to talk about. I didn't know there was anything there but a ferry terminal.
Yeah, you're really missing out.
Yeah, I really was. Well, The new exhibit at the Alderney Landing Gallery is one for art lovers and science geeks alike.
Cellular Expressions was created by Dartmouth artist Maria Doran. She says the exhibit was inspired by the human interior landscape and the imagery of cells.
About 10 years ago, I started the journey of exploring what our imaginary inside could look like. So how can you connect what we actually anatomically look like with how we feel about ourselves?
The colorful pieces started as an experimental approach. Doring likes to imagine the art as human creativity seen at the cellular level. Christina Vermeulen is a local artist and friend. She says it's the level of detail that connects her to the art.
Just the amount of detail that each piece can carry within it. There's so many different layers that you're digging through. Like, you start off with the entire image as a whole, but you can break it down and just go in and see all these little details, and it just kind of draws you right into the piece.
The exhibit holds 160 pieces created over the span of 7 years. The earlier art started as black and white, but as the journey continued, Maria added color. She hopes it gets people to think about their body and mind in a creative way.
Either way, I hope that it makes them think about their body and their inside and maybe appreciate it on a different level. A lot of people antagonize their body and sort of think body and mind two separate things, but they go hand in hand.
The exhibit is on at the Gregg Gallery until March 3rd. Jennifer Kirkshank, WTV News, Dartmouth.
Thanks, Jen. Looks like a great exhibit. The perfect outing for a cold day like today.
Like every day, there's no admission to borrow skates and get on the ice at the Oval. But on Heritage Day, people were putting on more than skates. They put on costumes. It was the third annual Heritage Day character skate. There were superheroes, movie characters, and furries.
We're kind of the center of the city, and we love to have more people find out about us and come down and visit. And it's just a really great time for families and kids.
Caitlin Crosby is a furry attending her second character skate and says that she's more interested in entertaining than skating.
We're just here for the mascot skate today, trying to entertain the kids and possibly going for a skate.
And Edie Walsh says she enjoyed the characters.
They're cute and cool.
In addition to the characters, there was also hot chocolate and face painting for those in attendance.
Get your face painted? What are you going to get your face painted as?
I might get a unicorn, cat, or flower.
2 hours after the skate started, the Oval started to run low on skates, proving that the character skate was a big success.
Well, we just hope to see it grow larger, more characters, more mascots, and of course more public joining us.
Joel Gray, WTV News, Halifax.
Thanks, Joel. Well, it is time for another quick break.
And that's our segment, Better Halifax.
And this.
I'm Riley Murphy from NSCC's digital campus radio station, CCKC The Platypus, and this week's host of Between Two Bridges. I got a chance to sit down with Jordan Newell, owner of Backpack Studios.
And here's a peek across the harbor at Halifax. Don't be fooled by that sunshine, though. It is freezing.
Yeah, if it wasn't for my gloves during our shoot today, my fingers would have fallen off. I'm amazed you managed to sneak a tweet in there.
It was one of the longest 140 characters of my life.
I believe it.
When it's this cold, I just need some good old-fashioned comfort food.
What's your go-to?
Chocolate, for sure.
I'd have to agree with you there. You know Peace by Chocolate?
Yeah, the local chocolate company started by a Syrian refugee here in Halifax.
That's the one. They just announced that they'll be creating jobs for refugees at their company.
And that's the topic for this week's Hashtag Trending.
Thanks, Brooklyn and Caitlin. I'm Scott Wild, and this is Hashtag Trending. Well, Valentine's Day may be behind us, but chocolate is still making news. Peace by Chocolate has just announced its intention to hire 50 refugees and mentor 10 refugee startup businesses in the province in the next few years. The chocolate company was founded in Antigonish, Nova Scotia by a refugee family from Syria 3 years ago. This is what some had to say about the announcement on Twitter. Atwal Kwan says, "This is such a creative and positive company. Absolutely adore the unsolicited love advice included in each box of Valentine chocolate. Also, the labels on their chocolate bars have peace messages, a feel-good and tastes-good enterprise. Among the positive responses, some were not so enthusiastic about Peace by Chocolate's plans. At Mystic Knight 982 says, his business do what he wants, but when he says it's part of an initiative to give back to the communities that assisted his family's arrival in Canada, then hire local Canadians from those communities, as that would be giving back to them. Others were quick to fire back against that argument. At Started a Farm says he has 50 employees, not exclusively refugees. If it means helping people that may have a hard time finding work because of language barriers, educational equivalents, to become contributing tax-paying citizens, why is this bad? Peace by Chocolate's announcement may have provoked different responses, but there's some common ground we can probably all agree on. In our lives, we could all use a little more peace and a little more chocolate. For Hashtag Trending, I'm Scott Wild. Back to you, Brooklyn and Caitlin.
Thanks, Scott. And the owners of Peace by Chocolate announced today that they're trying to help out in the wake of the devastating Spryfield fire.
That's right. The company says all proceeds of their sales tomorrow will go to the Barrow family.
And for our Better Halifax segment this week, we profiled someone else who's been organizing support for the Barrow family in the last 24 hours. Rana Zaman is a social activist who has spent years working with immigrants in the city.
When we improve ourselves, we improve our surroundings, we improve our society. And improve comes from within. And it's a constant struggle. I'm constantly learning to be a better person. I came to Canada in 1971, and my parents, they decided to move here because at that time, India and Pakistan were at war. So there was nothing here to support immigration. So language was the greatest obstacle, and then the cultural differences, the cultural norms. One of the challenges is they don't understand the culture, society, and how we work here, and in order to have that respect and fitting in, they have to understand. And make the attempt in that respect to respect the Canadian culture, at the same time holding on to their own. Now, on the other side of it, how can Canadian people help? Approach the immigrant. If they're your neighbors, go and meet with them, get to know them, help them through this. And this also helps you to understand why they may do certain things and not misjudge or prejudge. And when I went to Mecca and did Hajj, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, I saw the level of unity there. There were 3 million people, and I mean of all different colors, backgrounds, shapes, sizes, but they were all wearing the same clothing, and they were all focused on one cause with unity and harmony and no strife. I made a prayer and I said, "Dear God, but help me bring this level of unity back to my little community of Halifax." And whatever doors that were opened, I followed, I went through. For that reason that I wanted to promote unity, understanding, solidarity amongst diversity, everyone in my community. My name is Rana Zaman, and by putting myself out there, raising awareness to create solidarity is how I'm making a better Halifax.
Very inspiring.
Definitely. It's good to hear about the people in our city trying to help to build up a sense of community.
Absolutely. Well, Caitlin, our time is almost up, but before we go, CCKC radio host Riley Murphy caught up with a former NSCC music grad, Jordan Newell.
They talked about what his music and his backpack have in common. Check it out.
The vinyl record was the pinnacle of a listener's experience, but that wasn't the case for recording studios. It was timely and costly, not to mention the price of gear, and everything was analog. Fast forward to the digital age, and you could have that same quality production at home on your laptop. That's what Jordan Newell did. He took what he learned from right here at NSCC and started Backpack Studios. I'm Riley Murphy, and this is Between Two Bridges. Right on. So, tell me a little bit about Backpack Studios.
Kind of started, you know, just going over to friends' houses and working with them, and I would bring a bunch of gear, and it would be all in my backpack that my dad gave me, and it's like a big military backpack, so I can fit a lot of stuff in it. So I would normally like set up just like a portable kind of studio situation, and then it just sort of kind of grew from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're the whole team at Backpack Studios, producer, engineer, and you wear all the hats.
You know, like a lot of things though in this industry, you need to wear a lot of hats, kind of being versatile in a lot of things, because you never know really what either someone's going to want you to kind of produce for them, or even just like sit in on a recording session or anything like that.
So you took the recording arts program here at NSCC.
Yeah.
How has that helped you prepare for afterwards?
Definitely in many ways. I learned a lot of how to welcoming within the studio and making sure that, you know, the place that you have is a good spot to create with and stuff like that. Making sure that you know sort of what the right equipment you need. So it definitely helped me kind of like shape what my studio is now because of having that experience of a great professional studio.
What's a piece of advice every young producer should know?
Keep doing what you're passionate about, just like always there, and don't forget about it.
What was the best advice that you were ever given?
Get a good pair of headphones. That is probably the best advice like someone has given me in this whole like audio journey.
Well, thanks for coming in, Jordan.
Thanks, Riley. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Wow, talk about a convenient setup. All I have in my backpack is notebooks and granola bars.
And I just have a bunch of dirty forks. But if you want to hear the full podcast, look for Between Two Bridges on SoundCloud.
Well, Caitlin, I'm afraid our time is really up for real this time.
And this time, we won't be seeing you next week.
If you want to check out our past stories or just stay in touch, you can find them all on our Facebook page.
And don't forget, WTV Media will be back with a fresh crop of television and journalism students in the spring. So thank you for tuning in.
See you in the real world.